You're Tamil?
Yeah, I'm a Tamil myself.
Are you in the middle here?
No, I'm just following him, and I just wanted to answer for the political murder.
Okay.
The first political murder that happens in the Northeast was Alfred Droepa, the mayor of Jaffna, that is done by Prabharan himself. That is the first political murder in the history has.
Explain who these people are.
Yeah, he's Alfred Droepa, the mayor of Jaffna. It was the first political murder.
Right. And who killed him?
Mr. Prabharan himself.
Who is?
The leader of
the LTT, the Tamil Tigers.
Yeah.
Right. And again, when talk about the people who have been disfranchised, there was an agreement with the government of India where there was a Srima Sastri Fact came into existence. They accept 1 lakh people to India, and the rest of has been already given citizenship. And furthermore, the government of Sri Lanka gone further than that. The people who have been born in Indian soil, who have been gone as refugees. In 90, when the Northeast Provincial Government was beaten by LTT, which occupied the Northeast Province, who drove the Tamil citizens out of Sri Lanka, out of the Northeast, who went to India, and the children born to our people has been given citizenship, and it is only by the mercy of the Sri Lankan government that children who are born in Indian soil has got the Sri Lankan nationality. Whereas the Tigers have driven away nearly 1 lakh population of the own Northeast Province people out of Sri Lanka. And after that, the Muslims, they do not have the moral right to talk about this defranchise and killing of Tamil people, because they themselves has drawn away 85,000 of Muslim population, which is Tamil population.
Minority ethnic groups and minority religious groups are being driven away and badly treated by the Tamil Tigers.
Tamil Tigers. And they were drawn away from their own land, which, what he says, years and years, centuries they lived in the Northeast.
As a Tamil, how would you be treated in the bulk of Sri Lanka?
To me, I don't talk about all the previous histories. From the day I was born, in the late 50s, I've been treated as a Sri Lankan, and I mean, I perfectly understand. There are some political problems within. Every country has, but it can be sorted out. I live in a civilized world. We can still go for, he belongs to a different political entity, I belong to but still we come to a table and we negotiate.
Yes, but why then are there millions of people, hundreds of thousands of people, not millions of people protesting? Why so many people, who are not particularly empowered people, often at the lower end of the economic ladder, who are so angry at the way they and their families have been treated in Sri Lanka? This can't be mass neurosis. They're not being, as soon as we come back, I'll go straight to you, I promise. But yeah. It doesn't add up.
Yeah, no, it's a very good question you asked. If you see, the same thing happened in the Eastern Province 3 years ago. There was a fighting between the Tigers and the Karna group, and the same Eastern Province people from where he comes from became displaced. Why does the diaspora did not even speak one word? There was no protest, not even a statement from the Canadian Tamil Congress, nor from any diaspora that is controlled by the LTT throughout the world. Because the leadership of the LTT was very much secured in the Vanni. When the threat came to directly to the leadership of the LTT, the diaspora is coming out. And the people...
The Tamil Tigers are telling people in the Tamil diaspora to protest and demonstrate?
Of course. It is a well-known, because if that is the case,
I have to say...
Right. No, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
1 second, then we break. Yeah. Okay, we're going to break. We'll make straight, I promise, as soon as we come back, straight to you. It's a long show, and we have to break at this point. See you soon, don't go away. Welcome back, Micheal Coran Show, the subject of Sri Lanka. And I have to say this again, that, my golly, we pick and choose certain aspects of the world geopolitic, don't we? And Middle East, probably too much on this subject. I don't mean this, I mean everywhere. But when it comes to Southern Asia, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, and so on, we only seem to take notice when there is some sort of tragedy. You were desperate to make a point there. Go ahead, please.
I just have to say, for starters, there is a larger point that I want to make about the mentality that is leading to this conflict, that has had this conflict in place for 60 years. But the thing that I'm going to add is that I am shocked that there's so many experiences that have been negated by statements that people have made here, that people are living in peace there. let's go through a couple of things that are well documented by NGOs that have been happening in Sri Lanka for 60 years. By the way, with that disenfranchisement that they spoke about, there was a specific act that was put in place in 1948 to make that happen. Right? So this wasn't just it somewhat happened. There was an act put in place.
By the Sri Lankan government?
That's right.
Not by the British?
By the Sri Lankan government. There have been 4 sets of anti-Tamil riots that have happened throughout Sri Lanka. I myself am a survivor of one. That's why I'm frustrated that they could be negated in such a way. There have been random arrests, random killings. You know, this country is known to be the 3rd worst place in the world for a reporter to be. Just in the southern part that is protected by the military, that is not under the Tiger control, there are 14 journalists that have died in the last while. It is also a country that's known to have the worst one of the worst human rights records in the world, right? So I'm stunned that there could be statements made at this table that just negates the experience of all of these people, right? So let me touch on the whole idea of mentality. Successive Sri Lankan governments have tried to stay in power by appeasing the Sinhala Buddhist majority. And what that means is that they have to come up with policies that, again, appease the majority, but may scapegoat the minority. I'll bring up an example that's actually in discussion right now that is raising concerns with Christian groups worldwide. There's an anti-religious conversion bill that has been discussed for the last while. I mean, this is just, it curtails religious freedom. And I think the thought that they have behind this is they want to curtail the growth of Christianity in rural areas in Sri Lanka. Again, I said that, you know, religious groups worldwide are concerned about it. But if you look at that bill, and just the mere fact that it is being discussed, right, that it has been discussed for so long and there is a possibility that it may actually pass in the next year or 2 years, it makes you realize the mentality that the government has towards minorities.
But just in partial defense, such a bill has been considered in Russia, in Israel, groups that are protective of their religious identity. Other relatively democratic countries have also considered such legislation.
But I mean, that does not make it right.
No.
I mean, it's that whole idea of this is where it starts. This is where it started for the Tamils 60 years ago. And for 30 years, we went through peaceful proposals and things of that nature. When they were all rejected, that's where these things start, and you have to argue it right at the start to make sure that it doesn't happen. Let's talk about the current situation right now.
Please.
Right? There are actually, can I read a quote, because I think that will actually explain what is going on.
Who's it from?
This is actually a comment that was made by Bob Ray, by the Honourable Bob Ray.
You have to say honourable, please. Ray will do.
I don't like it when people say people's names without their titles at the time. For example, Harper should be Prime Minister Harper. He's owed that much. So this is something he said in Parliament yesterday. And the reason why I want to share this quote with you is it talks about the level of honesty that the government has made in their statements in the last while. So this is what Bob Ray said. The President of Sri Lanka said in a statement released today that he had instructed the army to stop doing what the President had claimed about 2 weeks earlier that they had not been doing. So basically, the President of Sri Lanka has said, our security forces have been instructed to end the use of heavy caliber guns, combat aircraft, which have caused civilian casualties. Just 2 weeks ago, the President denied that this was going on. And this is what's leading to the situation that we have today.
But I will hear from Sri Lankans who will tell me about the suicide bomb, beginning not with Islamic fundamentalists, but with Tamils, with moderate Tamil leaders being executed, murdered by the Tamil Tigers, with intimidation. Are none of these things true?
Lenin, Benedict was talking about the first political murder in the country, in the northern east. The first political assassination murder happened in the south of Sri Lanka. That was the assassination of then the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka, Mr. Selvarajaha. Why he was killed? He was killed because he wanted to give something to the Tamils. He was killed by a Buddhist monk. Can you believe that, Michael? A Buddhist monk took the gun and shot the Prime Minister. I think that was the first political assassination in the country.
Suicide bombs, intimidation, moderate Tamils being intimidated.
There are some acts took place the north and east as well. But the problem is how it happened, because Sri Lankan government, as Manjula put it, successive Sri Lankan government manufactured this crisis. They didn't give any space to the Tamil to resolve this non-violently, politically, through dialogue. Every time the Tamils went for a dialogue, they were cheated, they were betrayed. They sat with the Tamils, made pacts, but none were honored.
Go ahead, please.
None were honored.